just 4 months, South Africa closed, it's over 1,900 megawatts of renewable energy deals. And this was without a single cent of foreign development money.
Yeah.
So today we're figuring out how local banks suddenly found the confidence to write these multi-billion rand checks and, why a new breed of middlemen basically made it all possible.
The scale of that shift it's honestly hard to overstate. Because historically, if you didn't have a European or, say, an American development bank anchoring your capital stack,
Right.
your project just stayed on the drawing board. But the numbers for the start of 2026, they completely shatter that precedent. We've seen 8 projects reach financial close, providing that 1,932 megawatts you mentioned.
Yeah, and another 26 projects are sitting in advanced development, which that adds roughly 3,320 megawatts to the pipeline. So if that momentum holds, we're looking at 34 deals and over 5,200 megawatts by year end. Just to put that in perspective, the previous record back in 2024 was about 3,500.
Wow, yeah.
But the sheer volume isn't even the fascinating part here.
No, it's the capital.
Exactly. It's the total reliance on 100% domestic capital. You've got institutions like the Development Bank of Southern Africa, Standard Bank, Nedbank. They're footing the entire bill.
Yeah, it indicates this massive recalibration of perceived risk. South African lenders, they're no longer demanding foreign institutions to de-risk the environment. They're actually comfortable absorbing the debt themselves.
It almost reminds me of gentrifying a commercial district.
Okay.
Initially, you desperately need outside venture capital just to prove the area is viable.
Right, to get things started.
Yeah. But eventually, the local banks look out the window, realize the neighborhood is thriving, and they just decide to fund the next skyscraper themselves. So if domestic banks are suddenly eager to absorb this much debt, their confidence has to be rooted in who is actually paying for the electricity at the end of the line.
That is the core of it, yeah. The foundation of any bankable energy deal is always the offtake. When you look at the 2026 numbers, the capacity is split. You have 59% going to public procurement, so that's about 3,100 megawatts across 20 projects.
Okay.
And then the remaining 41% is private, which translates to roughly 2,140 megawatts across 14 projects, and those are aimed at commercial and industrial buyers.
And in that private allocation, the traditional playbook has just been completely rewritten.
Oh, absolutely.
The direct bilateral contract, where a single solar farm sells power directly to one specific mine or factory, that's virtually gone.
It is.
Instead, energy traders now sit in the middle of about 80% of all private capacity. Out of the 6 private projects that closed in those first 4 months, 5 were structured through a trader.
Which is a really fundamental structural shift. A large industrial buyer doesn't want to deal with the volatility of renewable generation.
Right.
They need absolute certainty to operate.
So inserting a trader fixes that problem. Do they just act as a shock absorber between unpredictable weather and a corporate buyer's rigid power demands?
Well, fixes is maybe a strong word. They don't magically change the weather.
Sure.
But what they do is they take on the profiling risk. Because a solar plant generates power on a curve, right? It peaks at noon. But a mining operation needs a flat, continuous supply of power at 2 a.m.
Right. They don't stop.
Exactly. So the trader absorbs that physical mismatch. They aggregate power from multiple generation sources across the country.
Oh, wow.
And then they repackage it to fit the exact load profile the buyer requires.
Oh, I see.
And by transferring that profiling risk onto the trader, the local banks finally get the highly predictable revenue stream they need to approve a loan.
So getting 9 billion rand out of local banks used to require a miracle and, a mountain of paperwork.
Right.
But now it seems you basically just need a 20-year trader agreement. We see these mechanics perfectly illustrated in Anthem's Notsi project in the Free State.
Yes, the Notsi project.
Yeah, this is a massive 475 megawatt transaction, and it's completely locally funded. You've got Standard Bank, Nedbank, Absa, and the Vantage GreenX Note.
Right, but the critical component of the Notsi deal isn't just the banks. It's that underlying offtake structure we were talking about.
Okay.
The power is being taken by 2 prominent local traders. That's Discovery Green and NOA. And those agreements extend beyond 20 years.
Wow.
That 2-decade commitment from credible domestic traders, that's the mechanism that actually de-risks a 9 billion rand investment for local lenders.
And I'm seeing this exact same domestic blueprint applied to battery storage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at Malilo's Harbibies-Fontaine battery project in the Northwest. It's a 77 megawatt, 308 megawatt hour facility, and again, funded by Absa, Standard Bank, and Nedbank.
Yeah.
But there's no energy trader buying the power here.
Right, because storage plays a totally different role on the grid.
Okay.
For Harbibies-Fontaine, the bankability was secured against a 15-year ancillary services agreement.
So let's just unpack that term for a second. An ancillary services agreement basically means they aren't just getting paid for the raw electricity they discharge. They're getting paid by the grid operator simply to be on standby, just ready to inject or absorb power to keep the network's frequency stable. Is that right?
That is the basic function, yeah. They are compensated for providing stability to the system. So whether it's a 20-year trader contract for a solar farm or a 15-year ancillary agreement for a battery, the underlying logic is identical. You secure a long-term, highly predictable revenue stream locally, and the domestic debt will follow.
It fundamentally rewrites the strategy for anyone trying to develop a project today.
Absolutely.
The days of chasing foreign development debt as a first step, they seem to be over. Success now requires structuring that highly bankable offtake shape right here at home.
It really is the only way forward in this current market. The local liquidity is massive, but it demands a specific risk allocation.
Right.
And the trader has just become this indispensable middleman, making these multi-billion rand closes a reality.
Which leaves us with a rather crucial dynamic to watch. If domestic traders are now the essential middlemen holding the 20-year agreements for almost all new private capacity, what happens to grid dynamics and pricing power if those few key traders begin to consolidate?